Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to our first elimination race and race 19 of the debut season of the PCSRA Craftsman Truck Series. When the checker flag waves here today at Pocono, sadly, two drivers will see their playoff hopes come to a disappointing end. Olivia Jackson on the pole position. It's critical for her because she is tied for that critical 8th position in the standings. So she's got some good starting track position. She's alongside another playoff contender, Billy Kitchens, who comes in this race 21 points above the cut line. Cody Goforth in row number 2. He is not in the playoffs. He's 19th in the point standings. And Carlos Rodriguez in the 33 jumped up 4 spots to 6th in the standings. Last time out at IRP last week, Cheyenne Berkshire went to victory lane and got a win, even though she is not eligible for the playoffs, which is a tough break for her in that regard. As you look at the rest of the starting lineup here, as we're going to get these trucks rolling off on the grid for the CRC Breaklean 175 here at the Pocono Raceway. Let's talk about our playoff points presented by Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness. Xavier Allsopp is the points leader. He has 42 points above the cut line. I just mentioned Billy Kitchens, who is in second place. Apologies for NR glitching a little bit. Billy Kitchens is 21 points above the cut line. Alex Winters is third in the standings, 17 points above the cut line. Blake Wagner, 16 points above the cut line in fourth. Jamie Bodine, 14 points above in fifth. Sixth is Marcus Sellers, who's 12 points above the cut line. Harrison Jenkins is 7th, and then a tie for 8th between Olivia Jackson and J Underhill, and J Ard is now 19 points below the cut line. So I could possibly think J Ard is going to find herself in this race more than likely going to be in a must-win situation. 20 laps of racing here today. The only trip to the Tricky Triangle for these Truck Series drivers. Of course, Pocono will be back on the schedule next season. Season 2 is going to be a really fun season for the Trucks, Busch, and Winston Cup schedules. "36 trucks ready to go racing for 20 laps around the Pocono Raceway. After today, only 8 drivers are going to move on. Two of the 10 drivers will not be moving on to the round of 8, the Elite 8. Here we go, getting ready for the CRC Breaklean 175, and we are green for our first elimination race here at the Pocono Raceway. Everyone took the green, so I won't have any issues as far as that is concerned with, quote, restarting on the wave-off part. This is a tricky triangle track. Of course, we haven't been to Pocono since, I want to say, the Winston Cup Series, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go double check. Or have we not been to Pocono? We have been to Pocono. Winston Cup hasn't raced here since race number 9. And for them, it's race 30. So it's been 21 races in between Pocono, as Olivia Jackson did lead the first lap. And that's critical because that's a bonus point for her. And now she will be at 1 point above the cut line. J Underhill would be 1 point below, but it is still close. The only driver who I think is going to be facing elimination is going to be J Ard. Yes, she made the playoffs, whereas her brother Sean did not in the Winston Cup Series. But J Ard, 19 points below the cut line. in that Hooters truck. Currently running in 28. So right now, things stand. She would be one of the two drivers sadly eliminated from the playoffs, but we're still in the early stages of this race. Had a very interesting Winston Cup race when we were here in the spring. Had some pretty good side-by-side racing. Had some close battles and all that, yada, yada, yada. So we'll see if it will be a completely different story here this weekend. I'll go ahead and announce to everybody the Truck Series next race will be in 2 weeks at Kansas. Next week, it's only Winston Cup. They're going road course racing at Lime Rock Park to set ourselves up. Easy for me to say. To set ourselves up for their elimination race, the Cup Series elimination race. Trucks and Busch, however, will start the first race of the second round at Kansas that same weekend when we whittle our Cup field from 12 to 8. So it's kind of a tale of two series starting a new round and Cup ending the second round. And then Trucks and Busch will be off the following week. After Kansas, it will only be Winston Cup. They're going to go to Darlington to start the Elite 8, which will be at Darlington. Then all three series will just be in sync together all the way to the end of the season. As I'm recording this here in October, of course, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Want to wish our Winston Cup driver, Cody Smart, a wonderful happy birthday. Cody Smart will take part in the Cup Series race in 2 days' time. He barely squeaked into the next round of the playoffs over in the Cup Series after last week's elimination race at the Brickyard 400. And Cody will enter that race weekend the points leader. Because remember, of those 15 playoff points that he got, which was the difference of him moving on the next round versus a driver like Jerry Harvick, who was one of the 4 drivers eliminated from the playoffs. Of course, for anyone that didn't know who got eliminated from the Cup Series, it was Samantha Granger, Ashley Horton, Jerry Harvick, and Kevin Joseph. His good finish last week was sadly not enough for him to make it into the round of 12. So they're going to try to end off their season with a trip to victory lane as many times as they possibly can, but knowing they're going to be ineligible to battle for the championship since they are no longer going to have their playoff flags that they have on their haulers. That's another thing I didn't mention back at Chicagoland is all of these drivers that made the playoffs have playoff flags, and when they get eliminated, they will no longer have their flags with them. They'll just have just their regular stuff on their haulers, so they would be no longer eligible for the championship. Just want to point that out for if anybody gets a little confused, which I hope you don't get confused. Billy Kitchens, currently as I'm on Winston Cup, I need to go back to trucks before I screw it up. Billy Kitchens, who came in this race 21 points above the cut line, he's looking like a possibility of moving on to the next round of the playoffs. Xavier Allsopp running in 29th. The good news for him, he's only 42 points above the cut line, so even if he has a poor finish, I think he'll move on to the next round easy peasy. So Kitchens running in second. J Underhill's ahead of Olivia Jackson, but the catch is Jackson did lead a lap. as we're going to see where our playoff drivers are running. I only see 1, 2, 3. There's J Underhill, the Team ASC Dodge. Olivia Jackson running in 6. And she and J Underhill were tied for that 8th position in the points. That's 1, 2, 3 in the playoffs. Let's see where the other 7 are running. Blake Wagner, as they like to call him, is in 12th. Sellers in 15th. Making sure I'm not derping here. J Ard's 21st. J Bodine 22nd. Looking further on down, Alex Winters in dead last. That's not good for Alex Winters, who's only 17 points above the cut line. Xavier Allsopp in 31st. The good thing is Xavier Allsopp had a big cushion ahead of the cut line, so I don't think he should be too worried. And where is Harrison Jenkins? He's running in 27th. As Billy Kitchen's going to go for the race lead. We talked about last week in the Winston Cup Series, Betty Barrett, who came into that race below the cut line at Indy, ended up going to victory lane, which locked her a spot into the round of 12, while Billy Kitchen's trying to do it here in this elimination race for the Truck Series. Remember, if you are in the playoffs and you win, doesn't matter if you're below the cut line, you are moving on to the Elite 8. And you would get a 5 playoff points, which that is also going to be critical when we have the reformatted points going into next time's race in 2 weeks at Kansas. About to be at the halfway point of this race. I can tell you J Ard's in a must-win situation. She's going to have to win this race. Even if you're like 19 points below the cut line, you're no doubt in a must-win. Because remember, 2 drivers are getting eliminated. Already past the halfway point of this race. Pocono is coming back to the schedule for all 3 series. Truck Series will still have 23 races. Busch will have 33. Winston Cup will have 36. You think about Billy Kitchens when he drove for Nam, didn't find victory lane in his starts that he ran with Nam last season, in the what was in the retired Coca-Cola Truck Series. Never found victory lane, never was a contender in that series. And now driving as a free agent. which some people like Cody Smart and Zachary Taylor thought that he was going to suck in this series. Well, got a win to get into this round of 10 from Daytona, which was a last ditch effort for him, which he did a great job winning at Daytona, which, let's be honest, for a driver who really needs some morale, that was good for that 88 team, knowing that he wasn't going to get in on points, had to win to get into the playoffs. And if he holds off Cody Goforth, we're talking about possibly Billy Kitchen from being one of the most not consistent drivers in the PCSRA to now one of the most interesting drivers that could possibly make the Elite Eight if he does win to advance. And there's Olivia Jackson still running well. Looks like Olivia Jackson and J Underhill might be drivers that might advance into the Elite Eight because they have been running inside the top 10 for the entire race here today. It's Cody Goforth going for the lead. Cody Goforth from Louisiana. As I apologize for that thing being in the way. Sorry about that. Hate when something blocks up my way and I can't commentate the race. Apologies about that. I will deal with it later. I'm not going to deal with it right now. I was going to say before my stupid updates decide to be dumb and interrupt me. Cody Goforth, his goal is trying to go to victory lane. Of course, he is a soldier for the United States Army, which we thank you to Cody Goforth for serving our country and continuing to serve our great nation, which we want to thank him for doing that in the NR community. Of course, running the LSU colors, which does not surprise me he's doing that. Down to 5 laps to go. I will deal with that little orange dot on my laptop later, because you're going to have to wait your turn. Good runs for Olivia Jackson. Olivia Jackson did her part in trying to make sure she stayed inside the top 20 in points for the entire regular season to be in the playoffs, which she deservedly made the playoffs. And I was going to say this for Alina Ritchie's finishes. If she would have made the playoffs, she would have been in a must-win situation. As Billy Kitchen's going to try to take the lead back on Cody Goforth. You know, happy that I invited Luis Hernandez, who we have not seen a lot out of him in the NR community of late. Anthony Ritchie, Annika Ritchie, who you will see her tomorrow in the Busch Series as she is running for the Busch Championship over there and going to be in the elimination race tomorrow for the Busch race. And then, of course, we start the second round for the Cup Series. Right now, Billy Kitchens, even if he doesn't win this race, he's going to be glad he made the Elite Eight. Because with where he's running compared to other playoff contenders, other than these two who are fighting, who's in those critical 8th position, the standings. Right now, Olivia Jackson, J Underhill, more than likely going to make the Elite Eight. Because, as I said, they came in this race tied for 8th position in the points. Both of them are ahead of drivers like Blake Wagner, J Bodine, Marcus Sellers and company. I don't think Olivia Jackson, J Underhill will be eliminated after today. I think they're going to make the Elite Eight hands down. See See if any of our playoff drivers are doing anything. Alex Winters in 33rd. Came this race 17 points above the cut line. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be eliminated. The 66, I don't think we should worry about the 66 because Xavier had a nice big cushion, like 42 points. I think he should be okay. He should be okay because let's be honest, he had 2 good races. Didn't matter what his finish is going to be, even if he doesn't finish well today. I already know Xavier Allsopp's going to make the Elite 8, regardless what happens today. So if I'm Allsopp and I'd be disappointed, on the bright side, you're in the Elite 8 regardless. J Ard is going to be another questionable. Let's see. Jesse's running in 22nd. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be enough for her. And then who's going to join her in the elimination spot? I don't know either. As Billy Kitchens just drove it in there and just passed the 7. Now he's going to lose second to possibly J Underhill as we're about to take the white flag. One more lap to go here at Pocono Raceway. Thing is, Cody Goforth's been in 3rd gear for the entire race. And everybody else is in 4th. J Underhill going to try to battle for second. I think it's going to come down to who's going to have the drag race off of turn 3. Goforth looking for his first win on the year. Billy Kitchens looking to possibly advance as we're coming off of turn number 3 for the final time. And Billy Kitchens is going to pull a Betty Barrett from Indianapolis to win the CRC Breaklean 175 here at Pocono. And he has punched his ticket into the Elite 8. Wonderful job by Billy and that team. Knew he needed a good day today. He did that. He will be in the Elite 8. Cody Goforth, so close. A second place will do wonders for him. For a driver who's 19th in the points, still looking for his first win on the year. Olivia Jackson, 3rd. She came this race tied for that 8th spot in points. She's going to the Elite 8. J Underhill's going to the Elite 8 unofficially. Shohei Alinsky got 5th. As looks like Billy Kitchens getting congratulated by all these other drivers. That's cool. Ingrid Pollard, 6th. Morgan Lohr, 7th. Victoria Hughes, Maisie Creighton, and Carlos Rodriguez will complete the top 10. So we had 3 of our playoff contenders inside the top 10. Kitchens, Jackson, Underhill. No doubt will make the Elite 8. And I can also say the 66 will make the Elite 8 regardless where they finish. But where did the rest of our playoff drivers finish? The 7 I've just discussed. Let's see. You would have to go all the way down to 16, Jamie Bodine. J Ard's going to be a question mark. I don't know if 19th is going to be enough. Blake Wagner, 20th. Marcus Sellers, 25th. Harrison Jenkins, 28th. Look on down to the rest of the finishing results. Xavier Allsopp, no matter what, is in the Elite 8 after a 29th place finish because, like I said, he was only 42 points above the cut line. He'll still be above the cut line. So, regardless, Xavier Allsopp came in this race worry-free, knowing he would be in the Elite 8. The question marks I'm going to have right here is Winters 31st. That's basically it. I think Winters, Jenkins, Sellers, possibly Blake Wagner, as they like to call him, but I'm going to call him Wagner. I don't know if I don't know if they're going to be above the cut line or not. J Ard, I don't know if a 19th place finish is going to be enough for her to make it into the Elite Eight. But all those answers will be answered in the description below. But I hope you enjoyed this elimination race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the PCSRA crew today. Show your full finish results, your points, and reformat points will be down in the description. I'm very sorry to the two drivers who have been eliminated from the playoffs, but they will do their best to finish the last four races with a checker flag. And congrats to the drivers who made it into the Elite Eight. We have Busch first elimination race tomorrow, and then the Cup race first race of the second round. Looking forward to that here at Pocono. Until then, I've been Devote signing off. We'll see you then, as you've been watching yet another broadcast of PCSRA TV, where champions are made since 2010, the best in our racing since 2017. The playoffs for the PCSRA continues.